Welcome, everyone. My name is Nicole Merrill. I am one of the founders of Vecteris. Let me share my screen. Molly, do you see my screen there now?
Yep, you're good.
Excellent. Of course, I've lost all of you, which is my team laughs at me for this problem of mine that I can't seem to have multiple screens running at the same time on my screen. All right, I'm ready now. I am so ready. All right. So I'm super excited to be chatting to all of you about this, about AI. It has definitely been like top of my mind and the thing I think about the most, probably for at least a year now. So I'm super excited to get to share some of the things I've been learning all along. And we have a pretty good group here. So I would love to see what you're learning. So love to hear your thoughts as we go along. Please add things into the chat, and we can all learn from one another. So, little bit of background, a little bit of context setting. There we go. I founded with Aisha Armstrong Vecteris in 2018. Seems like yesterday, honestly. And we really founded Vecteris with the intent of helping B2B professional services firms productize, really helping those organizations move from their consulting services to more of a one-to-many kind of approach, taking those years of IP and frameworks and processes and developing into something that they could sell for to many people. So excited to talk a little bit about that today. We started with Productize. That really is kind of the overview of the productization process, the productization pathway, beginning to end. We then learned that culture was such an important part of all of this. So we dug a little bit deeper into the culture piece of it. And then most recently, this past fall, we came out with a book on commercialization. So really kind of digging into the launch boldly part of the whole process, knowing that that is a super important part and one that a lot of people really struggle with. So that's kind of the background of all of Vecteris. If you are a leader in a B2B professional services firm, this is like the place for you. So excited to have you all here. A little bit about our objectives for today, and we have a quick poll. So Molly's going to um, put out the poll there. Please take a second to answer it while I go through this, the objectives for today. We're going to talk a little bit about just the questions that I've been hearing every day, particularly around AI, and dig a little bit into each one of those. I would say those questions have really taken a big shift in the last year, in 2025 specifically. So interested to hear your thoughts about that. We'll dig into the productization pathway a little bit. So using that as a framework for change, essentially. So I'll give you a little bit of an overview of that. Then we're gonna dig into what are the AI tools that at least Vecteris is either using or kind of experimenting with as a almost like a experience share here, a learning share. So what are we practicing with, learning from, those kinds of things? Would love to hear more from all of you around what you're doing as well. And then we'll get into first steps. So really curious to see the results here. All right, so a lot of people are pretty um, using this every day. So this is great. So I will potentially lean more into yes. So organizations, it looks like individually we're all using it quite a bit, but organizationally, we're just kind of getting started with isolated pilots, things like that. So I will lean a little bit more perhaps into the engaging the rest of your team into AI and just highlight some of the things that I like to do when it comes to using AI on a regular basis as well. So I'll stop sharing that. Let's see, I want to get this out of the way. Okay, great. Thank you all for participating in our poll there. So So a little bit on the why and some of the questions that we are hearing on a regular basis here. So really, I mean, Vectris was started years ago around this idea that B2B professional services companies were going to need to start kind of taking a more productized approach to their services in order to compete. And I would say in the last couple of years, that started to speed up quite a bit. We started in seeing customer loyalty being going down, cross sell, upsell opportunities going down, things like that. And then in the last, I would say 6 to 9 months, AI has really sped that process up. And I see it in the news all the time, right? And here are some of the questions that I get most often. So I hear, hey, we know AI could be a disruptor for us, and we're just not sure how to get started. That's one of the questions. I'd say the highest level question I get. I hear a lot that we need to consider our value proposition. How is our value proposition going to change as AI becomes more prevalent, where people can start using AI potentially in place of some of the work that we're doing? Another piece that I hear a lot is around business model. As we are using more AI in our day-to-day work, how are we going to change our pricing? I've definitely heard from, chief product officers at major accounting firms that time and materials is dead, right? Some of you on the phone on here probably have heard me say this before. It's outdated. So how are we going to work differently? I have talked to a major law firm. 60% of their business is now, instead of in time and materials, they are now doing it in alternative fee structures. So more of a fixed fee approach. So these are places where time and materials is like king, and they are moving away from that. So if we all haven't done that as well, we need to start as soon as possible to move our customers away from that kind of approach, and think about new ways of going about it. Others are struggling with how to get their team members to adopt AI. So I've had questions, hey, how do I get my team to use AI and not freak them out? Even at some of the largest management consulting firms, I've had that happen, and they're not incentivized properly to be able to do that. So those are some of the major questions that I'm hearing on a daily basis. And productization as a approach is a great way to kind of rethink, to evolve into new approaches. So just to do a little bit of foundational, so we're all talking from the same songbook, song sheet kind of thing. What do we mean by productize? And that's when we are moving from a service, a one-to-one bespoke service, to something that is one to many. It is replicable, right? So we are looking for those new ways that we can bundle our services with technology, or use technology alone to really serve our customers better. And I want to give you a little bit of sense of like the different kinds of products we typically see. So organizations typically start over here in this orange box, the customized services. And they are, as they move up the ladder here, the productization ladder, as they add technology, they're kind of moving up this ladder. Some of our organizations that we work with, they move into a productized services box, and that's where they stop. And that's okay. That can be what works for them. Some organizations that we're working with are also developing an off-the-shelf product. So it could be a report. It could be sometimes it's books, training, all kinds of things that you can use once, and then someone else can use it and repeat it. And then a product as a service is the last, where we're kind of moving into more of a subscription-based model. These are kind of the different flavors that most of the organizations we work with are thinking about, and it can be a mix of all of them. So we definitely have organizations who are working in each one of these buckets, or just choosing the one that's right for them. Curious if you want to put it in the chat. Where are most of you? Are you in the orange box, the light blue box, productized services, doing a mix of all four? Let us know. Would love to see. Light blue, great. Oh, hey, hi, Kate. Nice to see you or have you here.
How are you?
Good.
I'm at lunch, so I am listening in intently. But
That's great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, so we have most people, it seems like, are either in the orange or light blue box. That's perfect. This will be great for you. All right, well, I want to give you a little bit of the product. So if you haven't read the book Productize, I want to give you a little bit of an overview of the Productize pathway here. So this is the process that we are teaching people, coaching people on, helping organizations work through as they move from a services organization to one of those other three boxes, right? Or a mix of them all. And let me start up here in the right-hand corner with a line here. So this super important part, I just wrote a blog post recently around this piece right here. The most important thing to kind of starting your journey on the productization pathway is literally only having a commitment to productization, a commitment to testing it, to trying it. That's the most important part if you want to kind of take this journey here. Um, you're setting at least aside some time or money to dedicate to productization, and you're protecting it. Oftentimes setting hopefully some good metrics around revenue or some measurable thing that you can do against this as well. Sometimes it's 80% or more of our business is going to be productized by X date. We want to have X dollars in revenue from productization. Up to you what yours is, but these are that alignments piece is super important. The next one, define the problem. So this is where we're getting into some deep customer understanding. And it's one of the places where we can all, as B2B professional services companies, get most caught up. Most of us are trained to be consultants. We're trained to tell our customers this is the right thing to do. And in this space, when you're defining the problem, you have to get curious and you have to be open to other possibilities and idea and not always having the answer. So it's one of the places where I see people most get caught up. They don't take the time to really do some deep customer understanding and explore their urgent and expensive problems, essentially. Digging into that, competitive gaps, all of that, understanding the market, that's all built into the define the problem. A great place for AI, honestly. I would say these bottom three here, really great places to lean into AI. There's the co-design and develop. That's where we're ideating with our customers, our team members, and modeling out business ideas. That's one thing that people often forget too, is actually model out a business idea before building it. Building and testing, MVPs, prototypes, those kinds of things, that all falls into the co-design and develop phase. Super fun, your design sprints and things like that. It's always the part people want to jump to before they do define the problem. Also another place where AI can be super handy. Launch boldly. This is probably the place where most people are using AI first, I would say. That's where we're getting into our messaging, our sales playbook, thinking about how do we write an email? How do we come up with a list of potential target customers here? Crafting our pricing and packaging. Not an area where people are using a lot of AI yet, but I think an important piece of the launch boldly part. And then finally, measure, monitor, manage up there in the left-hand corner. That's where we're getting into what are the usage analytics, building a roadmap, thinking about renewals and upsells, those kinds of things. Falls into the manage category there. And then all of this is supported by the creating a product friendly culture. So this is a model that we've had for years. I think it's also important to say we want to create hopefully an AI friendly culture as well together, because these are going to be things that go hand in hand in the coming months. So I'm going to unfurl this circle because it's something that it's a circle. We keep doing it once we go through and we go back. Once we go through this managed process, we want to keep kind of committing to it. So it's something that we do over and over and over again. But if we were to unfurl that and get into some of the tools that I'm seeing organizations using most frequently right now, as we're just kind of starting to test all of this out. And this would be a great time as we're talking through this. If you have tools that you really particularly like, please let's crowdsource a few things. I would love to. I'm always looking for something that's new. So love new ideas on this. I don't use too much, to be honest, in the align and manage phases at the moment. Align, we're doing a lot of work where we're a lot of human kind of engagement work where we're sitting down and talking about what does productization mean to us? What is our definition of the word product? How does it build into our business strategy? So it's typically right now not an area where I'm using a lot of AI. Same for manage. There is a ton of resources and tools out there in the managed space, however. It's just that most of our customers are new to product essentially, and they're not there yet. Most organizations that we work with don't really need the pretty cumbersome, I would consider them fairly cumbersome tools that are out there yet. So I won't talk about any in those two. But the other three, I'm using a fair amount. Just keeping it high level of the ones that I use the most frequently. So when it comes to defining the problem, I would say when it comes, when we're talking about really kind of digging into how big is the market, where do I want to prioritize my efforts, what are the opportunities? Perplexity and ChatGPT, and even now Gemini, like deep research, are tools that I turn to pretty frequently. Oh, I went ahead too far. Let me go back. There we go. Are tools that I'm leaning into quite a lot. It's a great place for really quickly understanding what are the problems that my particular target market is really talking about. It's a great way to really quickly assess the size of the market, back of the envelope kind of stuff that you can do in minutes to decide, is this even worth my time thinking about, which is great. Fathom, we're using Fathom right now. So we use Fathom in every call that we can, as long as customers agree to it. And if you're not using something that's like recording your calls, I definitely recommend it. There's plenty out there. Fathom happens to be the one that we use. It's a great, one of the things that I love about Fathom for myself is that after I've had a series of calls, say at the end of the week, I can go back and say, what are the problems? What's the most frequent problem that I heard this week? Or, I can ask Fathom different kinds of questions like that, just to kind of get under what's the trends? Where are people being, asking the most questions, that kind of thing. So definitely would recommend that one. Kate has noted that she's using Notion AI to help gather up content and drive in Slack. I think that sounds great. Um, uh, you can get status updates, things that they're behind on, blockers, without bothering the team. Well, that's great. We use Asana for those kinds of things, but I think it's fabulous that you can use Notion AI for that kind of thing. Another tool in this define the problem space that I do use that I didn't put on here is Notebook LM. One of the things I like about Notebook is that I can pull in transcripts or podcasts or articles from a certain category that I might be interested in and have it quickly summarize all of them for me. So I think it kind of goes to what you're talking about, Kate, a little bit there. Definitely recommend that one for really quick synthesizing of a lot of different pieces of content at the same time. Co-design and develop. So this is where we are typically building out prototypes, MVPs, those kinds of things. And there's I put these in two different levels. So Figma and Miro, great for we use Miro most of the time, but great for putting together proof of concepts that customers can take a look at and start giving you feedback on what your ideas are. And typically in the past, Vecteris would do this by like mocking up something in a PowerPoint, right? Now, what's cool about Miro, for example, is that we'll run our group design sprints or solution design sessions, things like that in Miro, and we can put in all of the thinking that we're doing on a particular concept or idea. And then with a click of a button, it'll actually create like a website page for you that you can then go out and test with your customer. So it'll just give you a really nice visual, super clean, and no time at all. So if what you're doing is mapping out some new, fresh ideas. It's a great way to be able to put it on paper. Everyone agrees to it, and then go out and talk to actual customers or buyers about that idea. What was the last month when I mentioned Philippe? Felipe, it was Notebook LM, which is part of the Google Suite, and definitely recommend it. I find it super helpful. Yep. Um, Other ones that we've used as well, Bubble or Lovable. These are more low code, kind of, you can build an app in them. So if there's something you want to go a little bit further than you could with, say, Miro, those ones are great because it's a low no code way of actually building out something that someone can click on, and test. We've done that for ourselves. We have a product maturity diagnostic, right? And we also have a like a skills diagnostic within the productization space. And we used that, one of those tools, to be able to kind of say, hey, we want to have a nice report, like a report out at the end. And it was super quick and easy to be able to build it. It works best, at least for us in our, others may have better skills than we have. It worked best as a really early on. Oh, look, we have Kevin here, is a Lovable fan. Maybe Kevin can add some notes in here about how you have used it. I'd love to hear it. Um, but a great way to kind of build those really quick, fast prototypes that you can then share with customers and get some feedback on. All through the entire process, when we're doing productization, we want to test things as often as possible. So the quicker you can get something out in the market and start getting feedback on, the better. One of the things that we will often struggle with as a collective group, because we were consultants in our past, or even today, is we expect everything to be perfect. Like, we want to have like a super high level of perfection in the work that we're doing typically. So I push you to, if you ever feel uncomfortable with getting something out there, that's great. You should be uncomfortable. It should not feel perfect. It should feel like you're kind of maybe putting something out there too early. If you're not, then you're too late. So keep that in mind when you're kind of building some of these things. Um, the sooner the better. So that you can, if it's not a go, you can move on to your next idea. All right, this is the place, as I noted earlier, the place where I think most of us really kind of got started in when using AI. So definitely a place where I highly recommend digging in. Molly on my team already posted a few of the things that she's doing. She does a lot of our outreach. So definitely, if you have additional questions of us, let us know. We'll happy to talk more about it. Jasper and Claude are both particularly well known for their writing capabilities. So website content, blogs, email campaigns, things like that. A really great tool for using that. We use ChatGPT for that as well. So, I wouldn't just limit yourself to this at all by any stretch. Seamless AI and Lindy are both tools that you can use to develop a contact list. So say you are building, this is a common problem that we see companies have. They have a new product idea, but it's for a new market. It's not for a market that they have a strong tie to yet. So how are they going to then test that? They can't go out and call up their past customers and test it with them because it's not for them. So there's a couple ways you can do it. Advertising is one way to see how that pushes results. Another way is to go out and do some kind of cold outreach. So things like Seamless AI and Lindy are a great place to start for that, because those are smart tools to be able to identify who are the right people for you to reach out to for this. And Lindy even goes the next step further to kind of manage the outgoing campaigns for you. Now, Molly on our team, she uses a company called Copilot AI, not related to Microsoft Copilot, on LinkedIn as a way to reach out to people. Are Seamless and Lindy compliant with GDPR? I do not know. I'd have to go look. I would imagine a quick ChatGPT question would probably answer that question for you, though. So we could look into that if you want. I totally agree, Bob, about pairing tools to review your output. Really, really great tip. We were actually just talking about that internally this week ourselves. We're testing out using ChatGPT to um, automatically pull out any insights from our interviews and conversations that we're recording in Fathom, and we're doing that. We're going to then test that against other platforms as well as a check, essentially, to make sure that ChatGPT is doing a good job. So, I think that's a pro tip for sure. I should add that to my list. Um, Moving on, HubSpot. That is another one that we use ourselves quite a lot. So we started using HubSpot as our CRM tool. It now has become our website. We also have a chat bot through it. So we were able to set up in just a matter of, I don't know, maybe an hour, a chat bot that uses all of our content, all three of our books, all of that. So there's a lot of different tools that you can use within HubSpot that are AI enabled, essentially. Um, so one that I would definitely recommend if you are not already using some other CRM tool. So let's see, any other, I'd love to hear, are there any other tools that people are using? If you want to either come off mute or put them in the chat, I would love to hear it.
We're using a lot of those. I did put one in the chat called Prompt Cowboy also, which is turning a lazy prompt into a good one, a sophisticated one.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And then there's a couple ulearn.ai that you can put videos into and get kind of like tip sheets and transcripts from. But yeah, mostly we're using some of the ones you already mentioned, like Claude, which my thing with Claude is I turned it into a clone of me by creating a project that has like all of my past writing, all of our POV, all of that loaded so it can speak like me. And then one of the things that I'd be remiss to not share is giving it a directive to like not hallucinate and make stuff up and lie, and that it shouldn't like do that. So I've had to do that with Claude and ChatGPT where it'll sometimes make stuff up. So that is part of my usage that I wanted to share.
Mm-hmm. Other good pro tips. I love it. Um, it looks like there was a specific question about HubSpot and our website. So if you want, but I'm not sure what the question is. So if you want to add a little bit more, I'm happy to answer the question there. So I
Well,
was
there.
actually,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. Was that Kate?
Yeah, I was just going to ask. I keep seeing ads for Lovable, and I missed your description of exactly how you're using it. It's saying that it's one of the fastest growing ones. So I was curious what you guys think of it.
Yeah, it's a good tool for, and actually, Kevin, you mentioned loving Lovable. Why don't you come off, Kevin, if you don't mind, and kind of share a little bit about what you're using it, how you're using it as well. Kevin, would you be up for that?
Sure, sure, yeah.
Awesome.
I use it for rapid proof of concepts. And actually, if you really want to spend any level of effort, I mean, like 3 or 4 days, just hunkered down on an idea, you can use Lovable to actually completely build an application end to end, and it integrates with GitHub without issues, so I can store all my code there. I can also plug in different tools like Selenium to do automated testing. And it also comes, if I want to pay a little bit, with a kind of a back end system called Supabase, which allows me to actually store data and then like do a full scope application. So while I probably would want to upgrade to some different tooling if I want to push it to a large scale production. If I just want to flesh out an idea and see how much traction I can get very fast, then that's my kind of my go-to tool, and it's just all prompts. And if I want to go to more voice, using more voice to do the same thing, I use a tool called Replit. It does the same thing almost as Lovable, except that it has better voice integration. So instead of me type prompting, I can actually voice prompt. That's kind of the tool that I use.
Nice. Thanks, Kevin.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of like why I put these two in different kind of levels. The first kind of will get you to almost like a like a proof of concept, something that you not, aren't necessarily actually using, whereas the other two are really intended to be more of a, you could actually use as your MVP, your initial product. Well, we'll collect all the things that people are putting into the chat as well, and update this document and share it back as well. Um, so know that in addition to having the recording, we're also going to have the actual PowerPoint here. I won't spend too much time on this since it seems like a pro group here, but I put together some tips around effective prompting. I think we have a couple of more here that we've just mentioned. For example, telling it not to hallucinate. I love that. Really quickly, I like to, when I'm doing this, I like to set an objective, tell it really what good looks like, even give it examples. I'll give it a lot of examples of things as well. Here, this is what the structure, what it needs to look like on the other side. Providing context. So you're a B2B consultant, you're a CEO of a B2B professional services company, you're a tax accountant, you're a whatever it might be in that moment that I wanted to kind of speak from. I'll include that. I definitely use it as a conversation. I don't assume that my first prompt is going to be enough. It usually never is. So there's always a back and forth and follow-ups that I'm typically doing when I'm working with say ChatGPT, or I mostly use ChatGPT. We haven't started using Gemini here too much, and we do not have Copilot within Vecteris at the moment. So that's really where most of my experience has been. Being very specific as to my audience, my time frame. I go so far, and I included this on the next slide, actually. Let me go down one more. I actually have, and Kate, this kind of goes to what you were talking about with Claude. I actually keep like a little running list of all of my cheat sheets, right? Like I have a cheat sheet that's around Vecteris, and I have one that's about me, and I have one that's about my customers, so that I can, and I keep updating these, so that I can keep reminding the AI like information about myself. I have built out GPTs and things like that that just have this kind of built into them, but I keep this handy all the time so that I can, access it whenever I need it.
Yeah, that's really good. And one thing like for Claude and GPT at least, and I think maybe Notion, you can create those as project artifacts. And so if you
True.
stay in the project, and then every time I run some kind of complex analysis, I'm like, hey, document this entire process for me. So next time I want to do something similar, I don't have to re-prompt everything. I just point it to that.
Love that. That's a great idea. Within the project, do you do that, Kate?
Yep. Yeah.
That's excellent. And I will note ChatGPT can get tired. So I will regularly start a new conversation. So doing something like that, Kate, would be super helpful for that reason. If I don't, I've definitely experienced it where it just kind of poops out on me. So I'm like, no, this is not what I told you to do. So I will have it start over. And the last one is asking for help. So this kind of goes to that prompt cowboy idea, is that oftentimes before I actually release like a prompt to get started, I will ask it what else it needs. What else do you need to do this well? So that in case I've missed something, that I could easily give it to give me a good response. Oh, I should have another slide in here. What happened? Let's see. Apparently I accidentally deleted a slide before this. Well, I did have another slide in here around, let me see if I have a copy of it in front of me. I do not. Well, that's a bummer. I will do it from memory. So I had another slide that was in here around engaging your team. And some of the things about, because I have gotten a lot of questions about how organizations can how an individual can engage their team without freaking them out. That is literally the words that I got from someone. And I've definitely heard it from major management consulting firms, all the way up to those, that's a problem, is getting people to use AI is really a struggle. I think part of it is making sure that you're explaining to people why. Why are we doing this? Why is this important? oh, there you go. Molly put a little bit of I put together a while back a little talking points for your next all hands meeting. So you can grab that out of the chat. But getting back to like the why of all of this is super important. I would say that is one piece that I would make sure to focus on. Being a great example. So that's what one of these things, I think, which one is it? Maybe number 2, being a great example. So in your next all hands, actually opening up AI and doing it in front of everyone, showing them how they're doing it. Making it, I think a lot of people think that using AI is like cheating. But it's not if it helps them get their work done better, faster, those kinds of things. So kind of releasing them from the fear that it is cheating in some way, for sure, I think is a great approach to it as well. Another piece that um, I like to talk about when it comes to engaging your team is making sure that they have the right tool. So we've just noted a whole bunch of different tools, right? And even the big ones, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, all of these tools are good at different things. So making sure that they have access to the right tool for them is really important to making sure that they are successful. One of the, I don't know if Amend is still on the line, but they've built out to a way for people across their organization to access the different tools that they need to through one portal. Now, not all of us can do that, but I think that approach is really smart to make sure that everyone's using the kind of tool that they need. And then they can actually track who's using it, how are they using it, that kind of thing. So you can learn from that as well. Another major organization that we work with, large HR management consulting firm, actually. They've set up almost like regular sessions, multiple per week, where people can come and provide feedback, ask questions, and talk about their AI use, share stories, things like that. So they're really making it a very public affair. And they'll do it also not only broadly, but also for specific roles as well across the organization so that they can bring people along. Within that, they have experts or champions, essentially. So people who are not just doing it on their own because they love it, but those people who love it and have been kind of elevated to show other people to do it. So making sure you know who your champions are and leaning into those individuals as well is another way I've seen organizations kind of engaging people without freaking them out. So other ideas, validating, not explaining, showing, not tell. I love that. I actually, it's interesting, Bob, you mentioned this about personal use. I do agree. I think oftentimes personal use and getting people started on a personal use is not better, but easier. I actually very rarely use it personally. I mostly use it almost really use it, I would say 95% of the time for work purposes instead of personal use. But I do think there's a lot of great things that you could do personally as well. So I love that note. Any other kind of tools or tips that people have when it comes to engaging other team members in using AI? Because it seemed like that might be a nice, yes, Jamie, definitely good for vacation planning. I completely agree.
This is Frank Pacheco. How are you?
Hi, good. Nice to have you.
Hi. So the tool that I've been using is one that is called Soho. But the reason I started using Soho for CRM is because of
Oh, yeah.
converting emails into tasks, which then become tickets. But that's not the AI portion. So, but then I've been extracting the task in, and I'm working in a prototype right now, pulling in the task and converting them into a table that managers can view the actual work that people are doing.
Interesting. Okay.
And then from there, I'm interested to hear more about what you described for skills, because I started testing with GPT. It was GTP, sorry,
Okay.
ChatGPT. I tested it already at the individual level of pulling in the skills that people do based on the work that they do. And I just want to be able to utilize tools, and I'm looking into Zapier and I'm looking into some other tools to see if I can extract the skills and automate the entire process on how to pull down the skills. I heard you mention skills, so I'll be interested to know, because that's the part that I'm in my discovery mode, converting the work that people are doing into skills.
Interesting. I'm sure we could probably crowdsource some ideas in the chat around that. When I was talking about skills for us, we have a skills assessment with regards to productization. So we do ask a series of questions with individuals to better understand their capabilities and just experience when it comes to skills for productization specifically. So not exactly kind of what you're talking about, but happy to talk about it offline sometime too, if you're up for it. Would love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the HCM industry, systems architecture, and I've been doing this for 20 years, and I think that this is the next frontier to hopefully move people internally so we can combat the AI loss of jobs and try to identify people's skills within the company so we can keep a lot more people.
Yeah.
I used to be a recruiter 100 years ago, and when I was a recruiter, I never forget that one time we hired a director for the company. At the time, I was with Consumer Reports, and we hired a director through an agency. Somebody was inside the company. Because we didn't know our own talent. So it's always stuck with me ever since then. So I think this is what I'm trying to accomplish now.
Yes. I hear you. That's great. I love it. Thank you for
Because
that.
I think if we can create something like this, a lot of more jobs are going to be kept in America. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
I had kids in their 30s and 40s, and now it's one of them is struggling with, and he's very good at what he does, and yet it's hard to get a job in the market out there right now. He's an HRBP, so it's happening everywhere. So before the wave of job losses come in, we need to have some kind of AI technology that helps move talent around, whatever that is.
Yeah, I hear that. I might have someone I want to, we should connect offline because I have some thoughts for you there.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wanted to leave us with some key takeaways around all of this. It seems like based on the early quiz that we had, people are really kind of getting involved personally in AI, which I love. And I love all the sharing of ideas here. I appreciate that. So the time is now. We don't want to risk falling behind, which I think is definitely a risk, as Frank was talking about. Productization and the productization pathway is absolutely a framework for change that organizations can use to kind of work through this process. It always starts with understanding the urgent and expensive problems that your customer has, and then building from there. And happy to talk more about that. I gave a really, really brief overview of that, but happy to talk more about it. I have I've asked my team, and I think this is a really good way for those who are struggling to get started. If you have a task, try everything with AI first. I even have a little sticky note that I have right here, try with AI first, as a reminder that I used early on to make sure I was doing this. So I think it's important to experiment, to be curious. I think someone said that in the chat earlier, be curious, and just see what happens from it. Obviously, then double check. So validate it after the fact, and then engaging your team, starting with the why and getting them to experiment as well. I think I saw a question over here a minute ago. But I didn't see what the question was. Someone raised their hand. So,
Hi, Nicole.
yes.
As Ino here from Indonesia. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, I just want to share that we also use Notebook LM for researching document review all the document. So me and our team is working on a IT project, and most of it the SRIS also. Hi, Frank. SRIS, HCM, product like PeopleSoft and Oracle and like that. We 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 get a lot of when we get in the phase of requirement, we review a lot of document and other than
Yeah.
we use a notebook LM for review that. It's very helpful. Mm.
I totally
And
agree. That's a great example of where you could take a lot of
mm,
documents and research and use Notebook LM. For those of you who haven't used it before, you can ask it specific questions. You can
mhm.
ask it to summarize and give you like a document, like a overview document, a briefing document, I think is what it called. You can ask it to give you a timeline. You can also ask
Mm.
it to put everything into categories. So for example, I used it on all of our blog posts on our website. Now, this is not as fancy um, as we were just talking about here, but I used it to put all of our blog posts in and look for where are the gaps in the content that I've provided to
Yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah.
you
It's
know?
very
So
helpful.
exist. It really, really is. So thank you for sharing that like use case. I think that's a great use
Mhm.
case. And it looks like,
One more thing, yeah.
yeah.
Have you ever discussed with anyone about responsible AI?
Mm,
So
tell me
yeah,
more. Tell me what
because
you're thinking there.
yeah, recently I read about uh, CNET and BuzzFeed case that they got sued
Mm,
because their article using all of AI because they need to produce a lot of content and they're using AI. But now the practice, I saw that they currently practice the responsible AI by putting that this something like this post drafted by AI and edit by our team, something like that.
mm-hmm.
Think the and I also share with my team every time you use AI for your document, tell me that you use it and just be responsible. We don't know maybe in the future, maybe some regulation in some country will ban content or something like that by using AI. I think that's
I,
also we need to be considered.
I totally agree. I mean, I think it's an important question. And I think you do need to be open and honest about when and where you're using it. I think that's true when you're working with clients. I think that's true
Mm,
even with our employees. Like AI is going to change the way we do work, and some teams in the future will be bigger, and some teams might because AI allows them to do more, and therefore AI teams will grow. Teams will grow. I think some teams will be smaller in the future. So not only with our clients in public. With our employees, I do think it's important to be open. Generally, I do like the idea of not putting too many I mean, I want people to really feel comfortable experimenting within reason and be within in a safe and reasonable way. So whatever the balance is between those two things, I think is important. And Hillary, thank you for posting this article. I look forward to looking at it.
I was just
thank you, Nicole.
gonna, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. Is that Hillary? Go for it.
It was Kate
Oh,
again.
it's Kate. Go ahead, Kate.
I was just gonna say I agree with all that, and we like our point of view as Five to Flow. We're focused on burnout prevention and flow, and like going across our five core elements to ensure this all has a structured plan, that you engage employees, that you follow change management structure, and so in each of these categories, there's some of these components like the governance, the ethics, the dispelling fear, helping people develop their human skills where their administrative stuff can fall off. So very
Mm,
full of the culture and all of that. So I think it's a great conversation.
an important one to have. I completely agree. I did want to leave you all with a couple of thoughts on next steps. One can be just if you aren't already trying it with everything with AI first, engaging your team and asking them to be part of it with you. We are next month which is very soon because tomorrow's the 31st. Oh no, today's the 31st, publishing an AI toolkit. So if you would like to get that, just note, maybe put the word toolkit in the chat and we'll make sure we get you a copy of it when that comes out later this month, next month. We did just this past month um, make some changes to our product maturity diagnostic, which I chatted about earlier on. We have included now an AI component to it. So we can also pop into the chat the link to that. And and we can also share it in follow-up as well. Takes now just 5 minutes. It's much quicker now and includes an AI, and you can get a quick report around that. And then we've also developed some sprints, some AI specific sprints to all of those challenges that we were talking about earlier. So if anyone's interested in kind of learning more about what those sprints look like and how we're working with organizations as they're kind of thinking about how do we incorporate AI into our offerings, into our solutions that customers are, and that we can then sell to our customers, we can definitely share some more about that in a one-on-one call. So go ahead, Mike.
You know,
Your hand up.
hey, this is always fantastic. Thank you so much. I had recently, just yesterday, sent a note to my CTO saying that I really feel like we need to create an acceptable use policy for AI in our company. And I don't think I've heard you talking about that before, but I wondered if you had either examples of that or what your thoughts on that are.
That's a great question. We do have a policy. However, um, however, I have heard of other organizations who have done so as well. So perhaps one of the other things that Vecteris does pretty frequently, and I've seen some names and faces on here that are aware have been part of this in the past. We have a peer group. And a couple of our peer group members have mentioned this. So perhaps what we do, Mike, that's a really good question. Perhaps what we do is have a peer group session specifically on that topic where we can kind of share some of those ideas with one another. Because I feel like this is one of those things that would be best where we pull in some additional thoughts, minds to kind of think about it together. So it was a great question. And thank you for giving me the idea to kind of bring everybody together around that topic. So if you're interested, we can manage that together too, Mike.
Absolutely, be interested. Yes, thank you.
Let's do that. Curious, any other topics when it comes to AI or productization that people would be interested? Our peer groups typically come together where this was more of a, I'm going to talk to you kind of a session today. Although I'm so glad that you all kind of engaged and got involved. This was perfect. The peer group sessions that we run are much more of a conversation. So we're opening it up to a couple of questions and then the whole group discusses. It's usually a slightly smaller group. Yes, Frank.
So along the lines of human capital,
Mhm.
because of the work that I've been doing in RPA and AI, right now I'm with Progressive. I'm a consultant. So something is spark in my head, and it's something I want to be able to do, go back to helping keep the talent here in the United States. And I realized that there is no, unless somebody can tell me if there is any career services out there that interacts with AI to help people build their resumes, job search, coach them, career pathing, and all that stuff. I start playing with ChatGPT. It's the king to me. And it started answering the questions. I put my resume, gave me the gap analysis between what I do now and certain job levels and still for progression. I'm like, oh my God, this is possible. So when I have time, I think that's something that can be built, an AI career coach. But if there's one out there, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So the question is, if anybody knows of any AI service that is already doing that, please let me know. If not, I'll be building the first one. I want to help our kids.
Hi, I wanted to add to Frank's comment. There actually isn't a reliable AI coaching career pathing yet. In fact, before I was in product design, I spent 12 years in HRIS, so I feel your pain, Frank. in terms of like how do we keep talent and how do we keep AI tools to be more beneficial to humans versus companies. So that's one of the big things why I got back into consulting and like, scary world of consulting, especially this time. I'd love to connect with you offline because I've attempted a few things before when it comes to like leveraging early stage LLMs before this was ChatGPT to provide students who are non-US residents an edge in their resumes to do job matching before. That was very hard before ChatGPT kind of came into the world, but I can probably lend some of that 10 or 12-year HRS experience with a few things. And plus I'm working on a couple of AI coaching products as well. And part of that is actually career pathing. Because there's currently, you can do career pathing for linear roles, but there's no solution that can actually provide you really good lateral movement career pathing yet. So
And it looks like Frank, you have a couple of crowdsourced Coursera.
How do I
And
get their names here? Can you put them in there so that we can connect? I'm in LinkedIn, so you can
I don't
find
know
me.
who was speaking earlier, so
Who was
yeah, it was Ian. My name's Ian Limbaga.
okay, gotcha.
Thank
Ian?
Ian, we can make sure you guys get connected, no problem.
Please.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That
Thank
sounds
you.
great. Well, I thank you all. We've come to the end of the content that I created for today. You guys have been so much fun. I'm so glad we got a chance to like connect on all of this and how engaged all of you were. I really appreciate it. And I guess this is it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us and being part of the conversation.
Can I give you a compliment?
Oh, sure. I mean, I've
I'm in
always take that.
I'm in a lot of meetings like this everywhere. This is the most effective meeting that I've had in years. So
Oh,
thank you.
that's wonderful.
Hopefully you do it often.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. It was awesome.
Thanks. Have a great day, everybody.